Hello everyone, Camilla here from Decodable Readers Australia. Today we're going to explore what are decodable readers and why they are a necessity for your classrooms when teaching students to read. Now before we go too far into decodable text, I want to explore the types of text that are commonly used in Australian schools and globally that are hindering the learning to read process, and yes, they're still evident as we speak. Now these types of texts are called predictable texts. They use predictability, pattern, repetition, picture clues, context clues, and what they actually do is promote students to guess words. And we know in that reading science world that guessing words is absolutely not a strategy that we promote. What we want students to do is crack that code, that alphabetic principle, and knowing those speech sounds to print to read words. Now I got a sample off the internet that I'd like to show you, and this is what it looked like. It was called Big and Little. Now on the first page it said, this is big, this is little, and it had the big dog and the little dog. Then on the next page, sure enough, it had the repeated text. This is big, this is little. And you guessed it, on the next page, this is big, this is little. This is the type of text that it said level 1, so you're expected to use this text for a beginner reader. And sure enough, when you turn over the pages, the repetition was there. I can even imagine students guessing the words before even turning the page over because they've picked up on that pattern and they're just repeating that pattern orally. This is not reading, that guessing of words. So when it comes down to decoding, we haven't actually got decoding happening on or using this type of text. Let's take a closer look at the type of words used as well. So we know that this was level 1 text, and we expect a student beginning to read these words. And if we have a close look at these words are not suitable for a beginner reader. So let's have a look at the word this. It uses TH, which is a digraph, 2 letters making one sound of the voiced th sound. So this is not a sound that we use straight up in our scope and sequence. It's not a sound that is the most common sound that we should use for a beginner reader. It does come eventually a little bit further down the track. Then we have a look at the next word, which some would call a sight word. And sight words are decodable, but not early on when you're beginning to read. You need some practice at the very simple words before you're looking at words with irregular patterns. And the word is, the letter S is making a Z sound instead of its S sound. So we have quite a bit of teaching to happen before they can even decode that word. Now it brings me to the word little. All sorts of things are going wrong here. We've got a 2-syllable word, and we know when we first start to teach students how to read, we should start with simple single-syllable words. So we've got little, so we've got a 2-syllable word. We've got a double consonant with the double T making a T sound and the LE making the L sound. So lots of complexities there that shouldn't come in the very early stages of reading. So you can see these types of texts really aren't promoting to look at the words and decode the words. They're promoting that guess strategy, and it's definitely not how we teach students to read. When we have a look at decodable readers, on the other hand, it uses controlled text. What this means is the words that are used in the text are using letter sound patterns that have been explicitly taught from simple to complex, as well as systematically, so small amounts at one time, practice and mastery before adding new sets of sounds with the old ones and building in that cumulative form. So when we have a look at Decodable Readers Australia, we start with 6 sounds, our SAT-PIN sounds, S, at, p, I, n. And we have a look at those letter sound correspondences, and we use words and controlled text incorporating words using just those sounds. Sight words don't even come into the text in the first 5 of level 1 series. Then we have a few very simple sight words, so not sight words like this and is and little. We actually have very simple sight words that use the basic code, and then we build in complexity like that. So it's systematic, it's controlled text, and it's mastery, where students can actually decode the words and get a sense of achievement before moving on to the next text. As they build their knowledge, their phonics knowledge, they can then apply that knowledge to other texts and rich texts. But the important thing to note here is that students have those words to practice and have that cumulative practice systematically. Now, I encourage you to explore the Decodable Readers range that follow this systematic approach, have that controlled text, and allow students to achieve success in reading the way we know students should learn to read. Now, in our upcoming series, we're going to actually debunk a few theories around decodable readers, like decodable readers are boring. Well, not all decodable readers are boring, and we're going to show you why. They also have some rich vocabulary in it too. And sure enough, we're going to show you how you can get that richness out of decodable texts as well. So make sure you like our page and join me on the journey as we really explore decodable readers.